Hi, my name is Eileen Shaw. I started with this Whatcom County Library System in 2000. I was a clerk at Linden. It was a temporary position. And then they posted it as a permanent position, and so I applied for that and went forward from there. After being a clerk in Linden for a number of years, I became the trainer for the whole library system on the library program that we were using at that time. I got to write the manual for that, and that was fun. Since then, I've become a manager here at Everson and also at Sumas, and that's been the joy of my life. About 6 years ago, my husband had a very tragic accident, and at that time, he fell out of a tree, paralyzed himself. My dog stayed with him at that time. I was gone. And when I came back to work, my dog started coming with me. He's here in the picture. And he's been coming ever since. This is Chumley. And it's been a fun ride with Chumley here. There are a number of patrons who actually come in for their doggy fix every week. They do check out books, but they make sure and come over and pet the library dog. He has quite a story to tell himself. So the kids who tour know all about the little hero library dog. I have 4 children. 3 of them also worked for this library system, and I'm sitting here with my son, the oldest. He preceded me in the library, so he started in this library system well before I did, and so I'm going to turn this over to Jonathan.
Hi, so my name's Jonathan Shaw. I worked here at this branch as a high school student. As I recall, I was 15 and then 16. So this goes back to 1990 when I worked here. And I wasn't here that long. I had some conversation about this as I came in with some other folks who I used to work here with back at that time. They said, oh, you weren't here that long. It's true. Now, what I do remember is the manager of the branch at that time, Barb, we had a discussion, and she wanted me to commit to being here through the end of high school, to the end of to high school graduation. And and that was my intent. I remember, but then and then I got a car. I remember, and I wanted to make more money, and so I found a job that paid $4.25, which was more than the $4 an hour that this job paid, and that was Dairy Queen in Linden. So I went on to that job, and sadly had to leave work here. But I really enjoyed working here, and I'd been coming here every week at least since the early 80s. So as a family, we've got memories in this library that go back a long ways. But yeah, I worked here as well.
I remember when we moved here from Eastern Washington in the 1980s, this was one of our first stops. And I went right to the local history books at that time. Yeah. And I read about the history of the area. It was quite fascinating. Started the kids in story time right away, and we've never looked back. This has been our second home.
Oh, yeah.
A big part of our lives.
Yeah.
It was a big part. As a child, I think back, I remember coming, these weekly visits, and now that I'm a parent myself, I have a 4-year-old, we live in Seattle, and we do the same thing. We go to the library once a week. It's part of our routine, just like when I was a kid. So yeah, absolutely essential. Still a huge believer.
And what do we give our kids and our grandkids as gifts? Books. So here I am, Eileen, back again. I had more than one child work for this library, and I've already introduced Jonathan. My third child won't be a part of this compilation, but I'm fortunate to have my second child who worked for this library system, Katie, my daughter Katie, and I'm kind of anxious to hear what she has to share.
Well, my name's Katie, and I worked here before you did.
Yes, you did.
So I worked here in my high school years from 1992 to 1995, so now you know how old I am. And I was a page here. Actually, before I was a page, I came here and volunteered because I always wanted to work here. And I did easy things like stamping cards. And then when I got a job here, I was a page and I shelved books. I worked here. Barb Skinner hired me, and I worked with her most of the time. And then, but what I really remember back then, that was before the internet and having things online. So we did our circulation with physical cards that would go into the books. And so my job every day was to come in and to take all the cards from the books that were checked out the day before and then I would count them and sort them into specific piles so that when people came back with their book, we could easily go back and find the card from the sorted stack and put it back in. So that was called doing circulation, and that would take me a long time because I was a teenager. And then just shelving books and checking books out to people. So yeah, that's what I did when I worked here for 4 years.
And you went on from those 4 years and got your degree.
Yes. So after graduating from high school at Nooksack Valley High School, I moved to Seattle, and then I went to a couple of different universities and worked in libraries in all of them for a while. I ended up getting a Master of Library and Information Science degree, which I don't actually use that part of the degree anymore. I work at Microsoft as a program manager, but I think the degree did get me my foot in the door there. So.
And I think of what led to that. And as we sit in the little Everson library, you know, that the chain of events to get you where you were today began with the Whatcom County Library System.
It did. And I like to think that Jonathan, my older brother, and I paved the way for you.
Yes, you did.
Because we were the ones who started working here before you did.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I use my library in Seattle every day. Well, I'm horrible with physical books, but I'm a huge proponent of online materials, specifically audiobooks. So I'm constantly checking audiobooks out from the library because I can just download them onto my phone, listen to audiobook, and then return it. And I love it. So I'm a huge proponent of libraries. I think it's a great and important part of our society to ensure equal access for everyone to information and the internet and the facilities that we have here. It's critical. So go libraries.